actual convention started, there was a big party thrown by AT&T at Mile High Station for the Blue Dog Democrats. Now, what was interesting is that just a few weeks before, the Democrats had joined with the Republicans in deciding to grant retroactive immunity to the telecoms for spying on the American people. And this was a surprise to many, especially when it came to Barack Obama, because he had put on his website that he not only would not support retroactive immunity, but he would filibuster it. But no, right before the convention, he joined with the other Democrats and Republicans in granting the telecoms retroactive immunity. So then we saw immediately afterwards the prototype of the DNC delegate bag. You know, they go in thousands of these black cloth bags that you get all your swag, your convention swag to put in, and that the DNC bag, on the front of it was the AT&T logo plastered on it. That was their thanks, and if that wasn't enough, they had the party. So we raced over to the party, because, you know, it's important. It's a basic principle of good journalism. It's follow the money. So we wanted to go in and follow the delegates, who was vetting them. How often, you know, you can have at these parties more lobbyists than delegates. And it's very important. It's not just the seasoned politicians who are there, the senators and the congressmen, though that's key too. It's young state legislators who are getting really an education in how politics works. They're being bussed from one party to another. And so often it's one corporate-sponsored event to another, and they're being heavily lobbied. You know, here's a model of some legislation we would like you to pass. And the legislation had it was troubling to us because this, and then there's the issue of campaign financing. So the delegates are going in, they're elected. We think it's important as reporters to follow these elected representatives into the party, but the Mile High Station Blue Dog Democrat Party, AT&T sponsored, was also protected by Mile High security. So they said no media here, no journalists here, which is, well, you know, then you really want to be there. But couldn't quite get in, went through covering the Democratic convention, and then flew off to St. Paul. St. Paul on Saturday morning. Monday would be the beginning of the convention, Labor Day. We flew in, and Jon Stewart was on our plane. So when he was in baggage claim, we went over and got to interview him, and that was terrific. And in the middle of the interview, I get a text in my cell phone. Well, actually, the end of the interview, but it said, there's a house being raided in St. Paul. We raced off to the house. Eyewitness video was inside around. Now they were in handcuffs in the backyard. We all know Eyewitness Video in New York. They're the collective that monitored what happened, the police actions in 2004 at the Republican convention, when more than 1,800 people were arrested. And many of them put in these toxic piers along the Hudson River. You know, so many of them have been exonerated, acquitted. A number of them have sued. I mean, it's cost us millions of dollars. But, you know, this is what happens with illegal and wrongful arrests. So in New York, you know, something that helps get them exonerated or acquitted is when videotape is brought into the courtroom, and then, you know, the jury, the judge say what happened. What makes the judges really angry is when the police present videotape and then eyewitness video, they're the ones who collect the video or they film it themselves. When eyewitness video, when the police present video and then eyewitness video shows the unedited videotape. That's serious. So the New York police consult with the Denver police and the St. Paul, Minneapolis police, and so everyone knows who they are. So they raid the house where they'd just come in to begin monitoring what was happening that week. And one of our colleagues, Elizabeth Press, was there. Had been a long-time Tomorrow Now producer. She put the camera above her head. She was afraid they'd mistake it for a gun when they came in. AR-15 automatic weapons, pistols drawn. Put them out in the backyard. They're going through all their things. They don't even have the correct address on the warrant. We couldn't see what was happening when we got there. We were being kept across the street, but this African-American family next door, the mother comes out. She says, you got to see what we're looking at in our backyard. You come through my house and you stand in my backyard. We got a good view. We're filming. We're recording. The police have surrounded. The police have them surrounded in the backyard. They're in handcuffs. And I know that the police respect private property, so I asked if the property owner was there. An older gentleman in handcuffs was there. I asked him if I could come on his property, and he said, yes, I'd like to interview him. So me and Honey, our cameraman, jumped the fence. The police are pushing us back, telling us to leave. Honey says, I can't, she'll fire me. He said, you understand, I'm only following orders. So anyway, eventually the police did let the Eyewitness Video Collective and the property owner go after detaining them for hours. And I think that shows the power of the media. You know, you have a spotlight on the situation, you have your microphones, and because what they were engaging in was what's called a preemptive raid. A preemptive raid. Or that's why they weren't arrested. They didn't have anything to charge them with. And not that that stops them always, but a preemptive raid. Have you ever seen Tom Cruise's Minority Report, that movie? I don't usually recommend Tom Cruise movies, but that one is very interesting because he's arrested for pre-crimes. And that's what we're talking about. So then we headed off and covering events happening. Monday morning was the day of the convention, and it was a beautiful blue sky day, sort of like today. Is this what's like every day in Arizona? So we were thinking maybe we should set up shop here. Oh, okay.
Bring your own water.
So it was like this. It was a beautiful, warm day. It was Labor Day, and 10,000 people marched from St. Paul City Hall to the Excel Center where the convention would be taking place later that day, led by soldiers, some in full uniform. They'd come back from Iraq and Afghanistan, some active duty, a number of veterans, a number saying no to war. We have a chapter in our latest book, Standing Up to the Madness, ordinary heroes in extraordinary times, of soldiers who say no, like Aaron Wataga, first officer to say no. Sure, he signed up. No one forced him to join the military. He wanted to protect his country, to provide service. But when the U.S. invaded Iraq and he investigated and he studied it, he thought, I cannot support this war. And he felt he could not, as an officer, lead young men and women into this war. He knew the risk is grave, you know, court-martial, prison, but he felt the risk of being involved in what he called an immoral and illegal war was greater.